You are lying still in a dark room, but your eyes keep checking the doorway anyway. The blanket is warm. Your phone lies face down on the bed. A thin strip of hallway opens into blackness, and your breathing stays a little too shallow. Nothing is happening. Still, your body listens like something might. You turn your face toward the window, and the glass only gives back more dark. A sleeping room should feel safe. A locked door should feel final. Yet some part of you stays awake, counting the silence, waiting for a footstep that never comes. That tension feels old, older than apartments, older than switches and locks and streetlights. It is the same strange moment many people know at night. The room is quiet, but the body does not fully believe it. The shoulders do not drop all the way. The eyes keep moving. The chest stays ready. Why does darkness still make the body act like a warning has been given? What old danger taught humans to watch the dark even after the walls went up? For ancient humans, darkness did not soften the world. It erased it. Shapes disappeared first. Then distance became guesswork. Then every sound outside the firelight could matter. A small group crouched near a low shelter while the light shrank. Faces turned toward the edge of the glow. A hand tightened around a stick. A child pressed close to a sleeping adult. Beyond the fire, the ground became unreadable. Brush moved. Stones shifted. Wind could sound like feet. At night, the body had less help from the eyes. That was the problem. If something came close, there might be only one chance to notice it. A predator on open ground did not need to be seen for long. A surprise at the wrong moment could mean no warning at all. And the cost was not abstract. A person who failed to notice danger could lose warmth, food, shelter, a child, or a life. In a world without walls, without electric light, without easy separation from the dark, sleep itself was vulnerable. So the night asked a hard question. How do you survive when the world disappears around you and the next sound might be the one that matters? That question did not come once. It came every evening. The sun dropped, the edges of the camp went black, and the same pressure returned. Predators moved after dusk. Cold settled into skin and bone. The group grew quieter because noise carried. A person who drifted too far from the fire or too deep into sleep took a real risk. This is where the body begins to learn. Not because the dark is evil. Not because every night ends in attack. But because the cost of missing one threat was so high that the nervous system could not afford to shrug and ignore it. Over and over, the same scene repeated. Fire low, faces tense, ears turned outward, eyes scanning the edge of sight. Darkness still keeps watch. That phrase matters because it names the pressure, not the solution. The body is not making a mistake. It is carrying a pattern shaped by nights when stillness could be broken by teeth, cold, or sudden loss. In that world, alertness was not dramatic. It was practical. A life spent close to danger leaves no room for comfort to become complete. And when a pressure repeats across many nights, many seasons, many generations, the body does not simply forget it. It remembers in its own way. It learns to treat the dark as a question that must be answered before rest can begin. So the real problem is not whether ancient humans ever slept. It is why, after so many nights like these, the body began to react before anything was seen at all. The answer was not one brave person staring into the dark alone. It was a pattern of shared watchfulness. Near a low shelter, some bodies curled close to sleep while others stayed half awake, listening. A face lifted at a sound. Another person shifted toward the edge of the firelight. A hand came up, stilling movement when brush whispered beyond the glow. This is the first real survival answer the camp could use night after night. Darkness hid too much, so the group stopped asking one pair of eyes to do all the work. They spread the burden. One ear caught what another missed. One sleeper could wake another. The child held near an adult was not only comfort. It was protection from sudden movement in the black. Fire made a small island of sight, but it did not solve the night. It only gave the group a boundary to guard. Outside that boundary, the ground disappeared. Inside it, people kept turning their heads, reading each other's stillness, waiting for the next noise. That is where the deeper question begins. How did the body turn this repeated pressure into something it could live with? The body learned a rhythm. Not full sleep, and not full wakefulness. Just enough rest to keep going, with attention left open at the edges. In a sleeping circle, one person could doze while another stayed alert to the perimeter. Fire crackled. Embers glowed red in the dirt. A child breathed against a shoulder. Somewhere beyond the light, footsteps might cross dry grass. The detail most people miss is that this was not only fear. It was coordination. Eyes, ears, and posture all worked together. A sudden sound pulled the head up first. Then the shoulders. Then the whole group changed shape. A watchful face could calm others or wake them without a word. In that moment, survival depended on noticing small changes early. What looked primitive was deeply shared. The camp survived because alertness moved between bodies instead of living in only one. Sleep became lighter near danger. Ears stayed open. The mind stayed near the surface. And that raises the next question. What did this useful state ask the body to give up in return? This mattered because night was when humans were least protected. The group could build warmth with fire, but fire also cast shadows. They could gather close, but closeness only worked if someone stayed ready. Shared vigilance turned a vulnerable camp into a living system. One body watched while another rested. One sound could move the whole group. That tells us something plain and unsettling about ancient humans. They were not made for constant comfort. They were made for staying alive in conditions that demanded suspicion at the wrong hour. Their bodies had to learn the shape of interrupted rest. Their minds had to treat silence as something that might break. Here, the hidden cost begins to show its edge. The same readiness that protected the camp could make letting go difficult. A body trained to listen for danger may keep listening even after the brush has gone still. It may hold tension in the neck, the jaw, the chest, because going fully slack once meant missing the sound that mattered. That is the first trace of the cost inside the solution. The night was answered. The group endured, but the body carried the lesson forward, and it did not know when to stop keeping watch. That watchfulness did not disappear when roofs went up and doors began to lock. It simply moved into rooms that no longer needed it. A warm bed replaced the ground. A lamp replaced firelight. A hallway could be closed off. A window could be sealed. A city street could glow all night. The room is safe, but the body still leans toward the dark like it expects movement there. A creak in the hall can pull the eyes open. A phone glow at 2 a.m. can become the last thing a hand reaches for before sleep slips away again. A person can lie under a blanket, listening to a vent, a floorboard, a passing car, and still feel the old tightening in the chest. Not because the room is dangerous. Because the body was built to answer darkness fast. That is the hidden cost. The same readiness that helped a sleeping camp survive now shows up as sudden alertness in a quiet apartment. The body does not ask whether the walls are strong or the door is locked. It reacts first. Darkness still keeps watch. The question is no longer whether the reaction once made sense. It did. The question is what it means to live with a leftover alarm that wakes before thought does. It means the night lives in us as a memory of exposure. Not a memory in words. A memory in posture, breath, and attention. The mind hears a sound in the dark and reaches back toward an older world, when one missed movement could matter. That is why a silent house can feel loud. That is why a dim room can feel too open. You see it in small scenes. A person staring at the ceiling while the street outside stays lit. A hand checking the door twice before bed. A body turning toward the wall and still not settling. The brain is not inventing a predator. It is carrying a readiness that once had a clear use. In daylight, that readiness can hide inside ordinary habits. At night, it becomes visible. The body remembers being exposed under open sky. It remembers firelight with shadows beyond it. It remembers that sleep once happened among others, with shared listening, not alone in a sealed room. So when the dark returns, some old part of us still answers. Not because we are failing to relax. Because our bodies were shaped in a world where darkness was never empty. And that is why the opening scene feels so familiar. The blanket is still pulled up. The doorway is still there. The eyes still check it. The room has not changed, but the feeling has changed around it. The hidden answer is simple. The body learned to wake before danger arrived. That readiness helped human beings stay alive through nights when the next sound might have been a threat. It left behind a nervous habit that survives in a quiet bedroom, in the glow of a street lamp through glass, in the soft click of a floorboard that should mean nothing. Humans inherited more than tools and language. They inherited a body that remembers the dark. A mind that still listens. A night that never fully forgot the predator. So when the room seems safe and sleep still refuses to come, it is not mystery. It is ancestry speaking in a language the present no longer needs, but never quite erased. Darkness still keeps watch. If that changes how you see the silence in your own room, there are other close, ordinary fears worth looking at next.